And joining us in studio is Dr. Darren Green, and we're going to be talking about the importance of nutrition for younger children and also adults alike. So it is an important thing indeed, isn't it? Especially when you consider that it's not just about, eating to have a full tummy. Especially when it comes to children, because it plays a big role in their development.
Indeed, it does. And energy in, energy out. So, I mean, whatever you're putting in is going to manifest in what your nails, hair, your skin looks like.
Yes.
And also the child's ability to thrive. And that word thrive is so beautiful. It means basically to grow according to the parameters that a child's supposed to grow by in a certain time period. That's why we use those flow charts, and we look at whether a child's weight is actually increasing according to its age correctly when we review them at a pediatric clinic, for example. So then you can see whether the child is actually getting sufficient nutrients, can also point you in the direction of medical problems that could be related to stunted growth or slow growth processes. And then you find there's a medical cause why the child is not growing or picking up weight. And you could find then endocrine problems with glands and hormones, etc. Or even a genetic problem, that a malabsorption problem from the gut. So failure to thrive, something worth looking at and that we see a lot in clinical practice.
Speaking of which, how bad is malnutrition in South Africa?
So we have a lot, 15% of babies born are low birth weight babies. It's not as bad, obviously, as sub-Saharan Africa, where the resources are so poor, and where we all get those images of when we watch documentaries of Ethiopia and places like that.
Suffering from kwashiorkor.
Correct, that's it. And that's exactly one of the big conditions of protein, energy, malnutrition. So you can't just fill the tummy, as you rightfully said, with bread and porridge. There's a lot more to a child's growth, stimulation, and the nervous system, the brain growing to give them a good fighting chance in life than just eating, one dominant source of food.
So how can parents then make sure that their children are getting the right kind of nutrition? And not just that, but the adequate kind of nutrition. Are there different stages to look at, while the baby's still in mommy's tummy?
Good point. Good point.
Where do you start?
Yes, so that antenatal period is very important. For the baby's spinal column and brain cells and nerve cells to develop, for example, they need certain essential fatty acids. The omega-3s are essential for that process. So are things like iron and zinc for the mom. That's the mom supplements often in pregnancy, always cautioned against, obviously those deficiencies. Iron particularly, looking at a bit of the essential fatty acids beforehand, eating enough of the oily fish, etc. And then combined with that, obviously, hydration, making sure mom is well hydrated and so forth is very important. So the frequency of the meals is actually much more important than the amount you're eating as well, in terms of having a constant supply of the right kind of fuel to fuel that baby's growth. And then the micronutrients, like the vitamins and stuff that we speak about, the macro and micronutrients are important to ensure certain processes with specialized differentiation of cells in the baby's body. Obviously, the bones develop, the muscle tissue, etc.
And now, once the baby is born, what then? How does a parent ensure
breast milk?
Breast milk, because breast is best.
There you go.
Breast is best.
So, that is absolutely the best way for a baby to thrive is obviously to feed them with breast milk, because it contains all, but Mother Nature gives them the exact requirements of the nutrients that they require to thrive. And then obviously, if that's not possible, then you need to look at the formula that you are going to be using down the line, if you have to switch, or if you don't have enough milk, or if there are problems with the breastfeeding, and so forth. And then obviously you'd have to look at the components, look at what's in the formula you're feeding your baby, look at the amount of sugar, the dextrose, whatever's in it, before just buying it. And then remember, the needs of a baby are different to the needs of a 40-year-old adult in terms of their growth spurt. So they're using a lot of energy, they've got a lot of metabolic processes going on in the muscles and the bones while growing. So they need a lot more of certain things than adults do. And that would then happen. But parents need to realize that sitting at a table at dinner time is wonderful. Knowing what's in your child's lunchbox, making sure they're not taking money to school and using it in the tuck shop and then discarding what you're giving them, thinking they're eating healthily. Whether you're 10 years old or 16 or 18 years old, we all know ways of hiding the real healthy stuff and going to the tuck shop to buy food that might not be good for you.
Absolutely.
So, and then the tuck shops themselves obviously need to get stuck into the process as well.
Well, some key information there from Dr. Darren Green. Now, do remember that October is World Hunger Month, and Add Hope wants to raise 5 million rand to ensure that hundreds of thousands of children continue to be fed nutritious meals meals around the country. Now, currently, Add Hope have raised an impressive 1,104,540 rand. But the 5 million rand goal is still reachable. All you have to do is donate in-store at KFC, or you can visit addhope.co.za. And stay tuned as we come back a little bit later on to continue on the topic of nutrition with Dr. Darren Green.
R2 adds hope to over 110,000 children every day.